Good morning, y'all. Hey, everybody. Hi. It's Becky from Power Tools with Thread, and you are in our Stitchuation room, a Monday through Friday, 7 a.m., bright and early uh, virtual quilt retreat. So, before anybody says anything, I had an appointment at the hairdresser yesterday, and things did not go as planned. So, we are a little darker than usual. You would think that somebody who went to hairdresser school would know what blonde meant, right? She said, I want to get rid of the brassiness from your hair. I said, okay. She's been on me for months about it. I said, okay, that's fine. Go ahead. Well, yeah, she got rid of the brassiness. I thought we might talk some ScanNCut today. Uh, oh, you guys, we have a virtual kitchen. And please make yourselves at home. Wander over there whenever you like. There's hot coffee, pastries, all kinds of goodies over there. Apple pecan waffles. Yummy. You guys are very nice and kind. I appreciate that. My husband, I told her as soon as I saw it, even wet, I said, not gonna work. My husband's gonna hate it. He's gonna hate it. So uh he's been calling me the new girl. Oh my goodness. Yeah, you guys are very kind and thoughtful. Thank you. And of course, it happens right before Houston when I'm going to be on the brother stage at the Houston International Quilt Festival for 3 days, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Let's see, it's the show is November 2 through 5. And so that's like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I think that's what it is. Uh, um, and so at 11:30 on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, I will be on the Brother Main stage doing demos of exactly what I'm going to be showing you guys right here. So if you don't make it, the only thing you're going to miss is not about how much money you'll spend while you're at the show. But so I've got a 30-minute spot there, but I'm going to be doing more than just what I'm doing with the ScanNCut here this morning. I'll actually be stitching on the shapes that we mess around with. And oh, good. Oh, Karen, look at this. Now, this is stretching the old skills right here. Look at that. She's learning how to sequence letters in brilliance this morning for yarn couching. There you go. That's brilliant. That's awesome. Good for you. Very cool. Oh, good. Tina used my link and bought Merrily yesterday. You're going to love that. Merrily is the module of Embrilliance that allows you to make patches. And it's once I showed you guys how easy it was, and people were all over it. So thank you so much, Tina, for using my link. That's awesome. I appreciate that. Kate wants to know what yarn couching is. If you could answer back in the comments and let her know, that would be awesome. So you guys, I'm sure there's going to be a ton of questions today. And I've got the laptop right here in front of me. I've got you right there. And I've got the ScanNCut right here. And so I'm sure of it, there will be questions that I miss. But I will go back and look through the chat if it'll let me. Sometimes I can't see the chat on replay and I don't know why. But I'll go through and look in the chat for questions that I did not answer during our time today. And I will also look in the comments below the video. So if you're not on chat or you're watching the replay and you have questions that I don't answer during our time, put them into the comments. And then tomorrow morning, I'll go over those and answer those as best I can. I want to make sure. Let's see. This is gotta hit record. Now I got to go back and edit that out. Oh my word. Okay. And the questions I'm going to answer are going to have to do with ScanNCut. Okay. I just saw a question that said, how do I finish a quilt? Well, you have to actually sit down at a machine and sew it together. That's the hardest part. I was being flippant. I'm sorry. I need some more coffee, you guys. It's still very, very early. Oh, good. You guys are so helpful to one another. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm take two. Julianne, take two. My friend Lisa gave me one of those clapper boards for making movies. It's hilarious. I need to take that next time that happens and have it handy and go clap. Okay, and we're back. Oh man, I've not done yarn couching. I have no desire whatsoever to craft with yarn. So anyway, it has not intrigued me to figure out. It's very cool to watch too, because Angela Wolf was doing it. Was it Angela Wolf? 2 years ago at Houston. It was either her or Barb. Might have been Barb Machalachik. I think that's how you say her name. She's a brother educator. They were doing a demo of it at Houston at the festival in the brother booth. So, all right. So I saw a question. I saw where to begin from Kathy with ScanNCut. And I saw another question that says, I don't have a brother machine. So let me start by saying, just because the ScanNCut is made by brother does not mean you need a brother embroidery machine to use it. You can use the ScanNCut. It works independently of embroidery machines. There are two models of brother embroidery machines, not the baby lock. Okay, that's where those two split. But the brother machines, there are two models of them that I'm aware of right now, and I could be wrong, is the Luminaire and the Stellaire, that have the ability for certain models of the ScanNCut to talk to it over a feature called My Connection. That's a little utility that they added as an upgrade to the ScanNCut and to the Luminaire and the Stellaire, which allows those designs to be sent back and forth. But I'll tell you, I have the ability to do that, and I've never done that. So it doesn't matter if your embroidery machine is a Bernina or a Husqvarna or a Pfaff or Janome or whatever. You do not have to have a brother embroidery machine in order to do what I'm about to show you with the ScanNCut. The ScanNCut works completely independent. So, Annabella says that you and your friend, oh, good, Nanda Board, I've seen her here. Okay, you're going to be in All Brands Houston Saturday. Good. Yay. I'll help you. We'll all be there. All the people you love seeing on your YouTube. Courtney Douthit will be there from All Brands After Hours YouTube channel, and Barb and everybody will be around. So hopefully this time that we have together this morning will help you kind of figure that out, so you can get in, get out, and keep shopping those vendors, right? So I will start off by saying I'm not a paper crafter and I'm not a vinyl crafter. Very rarely. I have played with that, but it's not my jam. That's just not what I like to do. I'm a fabric crafter. And my whole mission in life was to figure out how to be able to cut applique shapes for my applique quilts using a ScanNCut or using a cutting machine. And I used to have a silhouette, and I never could figure it out. It's way smarter than I am, and I just couldn't do it. I want something that's very simple, that I can just touch a couple of buttons and have it do what I need for it to do. And then in my travels, I knew there had to be a way to have my applique piece is put on background fabric by an embroidery machine instead of me having to stitch around each piece manually with a domestic sewing machine. And whether it was, you know, raw edge applique or blanket stitch or zigzag or whatever it was, I wanted the embroidery machine to be able to do that instead. So Roxanne says applique is her jam. Yeah, absolutely. That's my favorite. I love making applique quilts. I didn't bring samples over. I'm staring. You guys always see them behind me on my design board, usually in the morning over on the other side of the room. Matter of fact, you guys can sit here and look at my fabric stash. I'm going to go get one real quick, a couple of blocks. I've got that pillow hanging in that hole back there because that's going to go with me to Houston. But I do have, let me get this out of the way. Oh, here. Lori Holt's chicken salad quilt. This will be in the booth with me. Okay. All of these chickens were put on by the embroidery machine, and all of the pieces were cut on the ScanNCut. So I completely automated the process to be able to do what it is that I'm doing here, which is just amazing. So then also included in the embroidery design, I did it after the fact. I could have done it in the embroidery design when I put it together, but I forgot to do that. So I added the name of each chicken while I was at it, but the name of each chicken was done on the luminaire. So it was just, let me get it up super close. I'm going to zoom in so you guys can see how precise the stitching is. See how precise that stitching is on that applique? Yeah. This is what the embroidery machine does. Okay. And the reason this is so precise, and I did all of these chickens all in one color except for their eyes. Okay. The reason it's so precise is not because I'm that good. It's because it was done by machine. And don't get me wrong. I love those of you that can hand do that kind of stuff. I think that's phenomenal. So yeah. Okay. So anytime you do a Lori Holt quilt, she starts out, for the most part, not all of her quilts, but for the most part, she starts out with these simple shapes. And we're going to cut Scotty Dog this morning. Okay. Show us my shirt, please. All right. Fashion time. It just says love with some sewing things. That's all it is. Kind of easy one today. No big fancy saying. So when you start with a simple shape, what you end up doing is you scan the shape into the ScanNCut, and it takes an image, it takes a picture and creates a graphic just like an SVG, but Brother calls it an FCM file. And it creates that graphic, and then the graphic establishes the size of the shape. So it doesn't matter what shape it is. So one real cool thing too about this is like these little shapes right here. We needed 4 of these shapes in order to be able to make those leaves on. This is from B Vintage, Lori Holt's B Vintage. So you needed 4 of these. Well, when you're working with a machine, a computer, literally, I mean, there's a little computer inside that thing. That's how it works, right? When you're working with that, you only have to scan it one time, because then you can create multiples on the machine. So if you were to do this by hand, you'd have to trace out the shape 4 times on Whether she uses interfacing. Lori Holt's method of creating her quilts are to trace around the outside of the shape on interfacing, non-fusible interfacing, and then put it face down, pretty sides together with the fashion fabric, and then stitch on the line 100% around on the shape, and then cut. And this is really important, you guys. Then she has you cut 1/4 of an inch away all the way around that line. Okay, so kind of keep that in your head. She creates that 1/4 inch seam allowance by cutting 1/4 of an inch away all the way around the outside of the shape. And then she creates a little snip and fully turns it and flips it around. And the stitch line, this stitch line is the size of the shape. The same thing happens in the ScanNCut, because the ScanNCut sees what is going to be the stitch line. So you do not need to enlarge or shrink or anything the shapes when you do this method. Okay. Made by Margie wants to know, is there a stitch choice on the embroidery machine, or do you choose it in Embrilliance? So I'm going to start by saying to you guys, if you have any of that fancy software you paid thousands of dollars for, it will do what I'm about to show you. Well, I'm not going to be showing you that part of it today. Okay. But in Embrilliance, you choose whether you want it to be a satin stitch, a blanket stitch, a bean stitch, whatever. Okay. You can pick that. You get to decide which stitch you want to use. I think it has like 4 different choices of stitches. I prefer the blanket stitch for the most part, but I've used satin before too. Okay. Margie thinks Eleanor Burns uses that method of applique too. Yeah, it's fabulous. It's beautiful. But then you either end up, once you turn it, then she glue dots hers down on an applique on a board, you know, to get it all straight. She glue dots hers down, pins it, lets it dry, and then stitches it all down. So I automate that process by using the file that is created in the ScanNCut, import that into my embroidery software, which is Embrilliance. And then the Embrilliance, are you going to tease me about being the new girl again? Here comes my husband. You going to say hi?
Not saying nothing.
He says, I'm not saying nothing. And so then where was I? Let's see. I was talking about Embrilliance. Yeah. So the ScanNCut it captures an image from what it saw. Okay. And then from there, that image is imported into the embroidery software. And I prefer Embrilliance because it's very inexpensive compared to the others. I call Embrilliance the Liberty Mutual of embroidery software. You only pay for what you need. So if you're only going to be doing this, what I'm doing, I would recommend Embrilliance Essentials. And today is the last day of the 10% off coupon that they've got running. I think the sale on the software runs through the 28th, but the coupon, and I've got it linked below, I believe. If not, it'll be linked as soon as I finish this video. Then the coupon is only good through today for another 10% off the sale price. So what it ends up doing is it takes that SVG file, and then you only need, I would recommend Embrilliance Essentials, which gives you the basics, copy, paste, merge. You can edit embroidery designs and that kind of thing to a point. And then Stitch Artist 2. And Stitch Artist 2 has that vector button that allows you to import the file created by the ScanNCut. And then you can build your shapes, okay? And then you just, with the turn of one button, you go poof, and you have an embroidery design. It's that simple. If you have high-end embroidery software and you want to figure out how to do it, you need to search in your instruction manual for the words vector and applique and kind of suss all that out and figure out how to do it in that software. Okay. If you've spent, $2,000 on a piece of software, don't ignore it completely. At least attempt to figure that out. I guarantee you it's very difficult. With Embrilliance, you just, hit Stitch Artist, hit the vector button, pull it in, highlight it, and hit applique, and you're done, completely done, right? So it's very, very easy. Do I have to have Stitch Artist to use Merrily module? No, ma'am. Merrily is the patchmaking module of Embrilliance, and it works independently of all. That's what I was saying about the Liberty Mutual. You only pay for what you need, right? So I have Merrily, but I used it without Stitch Artist. You don't need that. They're all different modules. You know what? I have a video I made on what is Embrilliance and how does Thumbnailer work. Thumbnailer allows you to see pictures of your embroidery designs, like in your pictures folder. So, I just read a comment about brassy hair, adding ash color too. There's a lot of ash in my hair. Yes, Scotty Dog, there certainly is. Okay. Could I clarify when I need to enlarge a shape in Embrilliance? You've heard Kimberbell shapes need to be enlarged to +2. Carol, that is correct. Okay. The only time you need to enlarge a shape is when it doesn't fit. Okay. If it's too small for the tack down line to capture it, then you need to enlarge it. But you don't have to enlarge it in Brilliance. Where you enlarge it +2 is on the ScanNCut. You haven't made it to the software yet. And if you're using a Kimberbell design, you don't need Embrilliance. Embrilliance is designed for you to be able to manipulate embroidery designs, okay? If you're using a Kimberbell design, that design has already been digitized by the digitizers at Kimberbell, and you just need to cut out your shapes. But I recommend you hit +2 on the size, constraining the proportions so that it enlarges completely. And then when it cuts out the shape, it's large enough so that when you get the placement line, it actually fits. For some reason, the SVG files that are created and that's if you're using the SVG file from Kimberbell, okay? If you pull the design into Embrilliance and you turn the placement line into a cut file using Embrilliance, because Embrilliance will allow you to do that. So you're not going to use the SVG files that came from the download from Kimberbell at all, okay? So now you've got the SVG file that you've created out of Embrilliance. You don't have to enlarge it because you made that file from the placement line. So it's going to fit. See? I know this is why people say, I wish Becky would write down the steps on how to do this. Y'all, there's so many different variables that there's not enough hours in the day. That is a full-time job, and I wouldn't be able to make content for y'all. Okay. She wants to know, do you need the Embrilliance Essentials, or can you just purchase Stitch Artist too if it's pretty expensive? You already have PE Design and Simply Applique. So Kim, if you already have Simply Applique, you have the software to be able to do this. And I've got videos on Simply Applique. The issue with Simply Applique is that it's got a couple of glitches, and sometimes it doesn't do a blanket stitch all the way around the design. You can take it off the machine and go over and finish it on the domestic. I can't do that. I have got to have it work 100% of the time. So I switched over to Stitch Artist 2. You do not have to have Essentials in order to buy Stitch Artist 2. But if you buy Essentials and Stitch Artist 2, you're only spending about $600. In terms of embroidery software, that's cheap, you guys. That's really cheap. But if you've got Simply Applique, watch my videos on how to do that. And I'm sure it's going to work just fine for you. Okay. Yeah, I do need to write a book for you guys. They're saying hello. I do need to write a book for you guys, and I'm not going to because there's no time. It's very hard. And the thing is, what happens when I write all this down and then unbeknownst to me, things change in the world of software, right? And now what? Now what I've written is outdated and antiquated. Do I need, that's a good question, Connie. Do you need Stitch Artist 1 to get Stitch Artist 2? No, Stitch Artist 2 contains all of the tools that are in Stitch Artist 1. If you already have one, there is an upgrade to get to. So if you click on Stitch Artist on the Embrilliance website, there's another drop down that says upgrades, and then you can just spend like $200, maybe that. Okay. So no, yeah, I know you guys, it's crazy. So, and if this is your first time being exposed to this, you're probably going, I don't even know what she's talking about. So let's get to it. We're already almost 30 minutes in and I haven't cut out my dog. All right. So I just wanted to show you guys what you can do. I've got some fabric here. Okay. We're going to make the little Scotty dog. I got some fabric here. I've got Heat and Bond light on the back and I still have the paper on it. When you put your Heat and Bond light on your fabric, you can use Hot Fix adhesive. Those are the two, Heat and Bond light and Hot Fix adhesive, that work really good. The door's open. Isn't that just like a man? Born in a barn. You can use Misty Fuse or Steam-A-Seam. But then in that case, I would recommend that you use some Sulky KK2000 to adhere the fabric to the mat, because it just doesn't stick as well to the mat. Vicky was Keith born in a barn. Oh my word. Y'all, I know this sounds like a lot, but it's a brand new process. And once you get the hang of this, it's just incredible. So I've had people ask, can I do it with a silhouette? Can I do it with a Cricut? The issue with that, first of all, the silhouette's too hard. If you can figure it out, knock yourself out. The problem with it is twofold, okay? I'm told repeatedly by many, many people, the software and the cloud used by Cricut resizes your shapes. And then you've got to figure all that out, okay? And if you're so inclined, go right ahead. But I don't want to fiddle with that, okay? And then the other thing is, let me put my, I finished my Dutchman's puzzle blocks yesterday, you guys. I was going to show a little show and tell on that. I did quilt a little bit yesterday. Yes. Okay. The other issue is when you have a whole bunch of pieces like this. So I would use one red square of fabric to cut out my 4 hearts, right? And a little yellow square of fabric for center and a little yellow square for blue. And then here's a little square for this leaf and that little square for that stem. Okay. So I can take all of these different fabric pieces that have Heat and Bond light on the back, and I can put them on the mat, scan the mat in so that the ScanNCut takes a picture of the mat to see where the fabric is. And then I can move those pieces exactly where they need to go on the mat and make sure that they're going to cut properly. Okay. You can't do that with a Cricut or a Silhouette because it doesn't have a scanning feature. That's why the ScanNCut is so much more expensive than those other 2 machines, because of the ability for it to scan the mat. This is good. Heather Kaufman says, Lisa Cape and Quilt solved the mystery of the Cricut design space changing the side. Good. If you have a Cricut, give it a check that out. She's brilliant. Lisa Cape and Quilts is her channel is one of the one that gave me the idea. I need to figure out how this is done with the ScanNCut. Okay. All right. Let me put my coffee down so I don't make a big hot mess here. So when you get a ScanNCut, there's a mat you need that does not come in the box. It's an additional purchase. It's an additional accessory. It's called a scanning mat. So the ScanNCut's going to come with, of course, the scanner itself. I also put on the side, this is a Command razor cup for the shower. And I attach it on the side and it holds all my little tools. And I've done that for years and years. Everybody asks, where'd you get your cup? So this mat has a clear flap on it. You're going to get the cleanest scans with this. Okay. I have another mat down here. This is my low tack mat. And you guys, if you're all confused about the mats, I've got a blog post on powertoolswiththread.com and it says, which ScanNCut should I buy? So if you go to my search box on my blog and either type in ScanNCut or the word buy, B-U-Y, it'll pop right up and you can read through that and it'll explain all about the mats. Okay. So this mat, I don't know if you can see it. It has a gazillion little cuts and marks and all kinds of, can you see in the glare? You can see the little cuts and all of the stuff that this thing, I've had it for years. Okay. So if I was to use this as a scanning mat, the resulting scan is a big hot mess of a whole bunch of millions of little lines that it saw. Whereas if I use the scanning mat, I get a nice clean scan. I'm going to turn this on. So I am using the SDX 325. There is one more model from this one. It is the 330D. If it has a D in it, it contains Disney designs. I don't need Disney in my life because my grands are past that. So the 325 is fine. It is identical to the 330D. It just doesn't have Disney designs. Contains all the same everything, right? So I need to scan my dog. Now, I have been, for years, I've always traced the shapes on paper and then ran that paper in to the ScanNCut printer paper. But everybody's telling me I can just put the shape in here, which is awesome because that changes everything and saves me a load of time. I don't have to trace it. So I'm just going to put this in here. I got 3 little buttons here. I'm going to hit the load button. You guys, if you go, I want to show you. Let me pull up my channel on YouTube. I want to show you how you can find everything I'm talking about. Let me go to my channel. Okay. I'm going to share my screen. Yep. Okay. Okay, this is my homepage channel. On YouTube, on the main search bar up top, you can just type in Power Tools with Thread and you'll find my main channel. Or you can click below any one of my videos right there. It says Power Tools with Thread. You can click that and that will take you to the main channel. There is a menu right across the top right here, just below my little round picture. That's at the Houston show several years ago. We've got home. Okay. We have videos, shorts, live, playlists. Look on playlists. And when you click that, you're going to get all of the playlist of things that I've got. All right. And I'm looking for it. There is one here, I am sure. And it's going to be called ScanNCut. Looking. Lots of playlists, you guys. I need to clean all that up. I know. But here are all the videos where I have used Embrilliance. I've got 33 videos where I've used Embrilliance. Okay, here it is right here. I've got 38 videos on ScanNCut. So you can view the full playlist and then you can go through them and look and see which ones suit your fancy. Because I'm not talking in those, I'm using the ScanNCut in that video to show you whatever I'm doing during that particular project that I was working on. Okay. So when you get the main menu on the ScanNCut, you got two big icons right here. We have pattern and scan, and the patterns are patterns that were in the machine when you bought it. So that has your fonts and all your little shapes and all that noise, right? But scan is what I want to do now. I want to scan in that little dog. So if you just walked in the door and you're new and you're heading over to the coffee and the Danishes, I'm scanning the Scotty dog from Lori Holt's Be Vintage, because I want that shape. Also, let me hit scan. This is really important. There's 3 buttons right here: direct cut, scan to cut data, and scan to USB. Always choose scan to cut data using this process. Okay. Direct cut means you want it to cut right on the here if I had the fabric. Okay, I don't want to do that. Scan to cut data. If you go through this process and it doesn't, there's no vector for you to import, that's because you didn't hit scan to cut data. Okay. Do I have a nice website? That's all right, Jennifer. Good morning, Frito. Hi, baby. Hello. Hello. Frito's here. She wants to pop in and say hi. Come here. Come here. Where'd you go? Hello, baby girl. She just woke up. Okay. She has to have her love, right? So I'm just going to hit start and we'll see. This is my first time doing this, just scanning in the shape and crossing my fingers and hope that it works. And that's how I do a lot of how I've learned. I just kind of poke around until I figure it out. And I'll zoom in on the screen so you guys can see what I see. So it just scanned. Let's see what we got. 553. Ooh, look at that. Again, you do not need a Brother embroidery machine to do what I'm doing. Isn't that awesome? So I want to explain to you what I'm looking at here. Okay. Oh, glasses. Hold on. Okay. So when you get to this screen, you have 3 options here. We have outside only, we have inside and outside, and then we have regions. Okay. Outside only would be just to capture the outside of the dog. Inside outside would capture the outside of the dog plus anything that's inside. You always use this button for lettering. So like the inside of a bee. So you get the little holes. Can you guys see everything? I'm a little high. Hold on. Let me pull this down. That's a little better. Okay. I only want the outside of the dog. I don't care about the lettering that's on the inside. So I'm going to tell it outside only. And it's going to process that and capture it. Now, if you look, I've got a little bit of lightness here where it didn't get all of the outside of the dog. So I'm going to hit this little grayscale button here. And I'm going to go a little darker. And now let me preview this. Maybe I shouldn't have pushed the dog all the way up to the top. So now it's looking at just the outside of the dog. And let's see if we can't get a full complete line this time. Oh, I did even worse. Let me go back the other way. I got less than I bargained for. All right, let me preview that. See, you'd think make it darker, but it didn't. And I don't want to do anything with the lettering that's inside of the dog, so I don't have to fiddle about that. Nope, one more. Let me see if I can get it. This is the reason that I do tracing of the shape itself. Because sometimes that just doesn't work. Sorry, Frito. All right. So let's see. Oh, look at that. That's a hot mess. See, that's what I'm talking about. It picks up all the noise and everything that it sees all over that mat. I'm going to do this one more time. And if that doesn't work, I'm going to use a tracing of the dog on a piece of paper. Because the idea is not to have to trace it if you don't have to. Okay, I'm going to tell it okay and see if it, I just don't think that that's going to give me a full cut. So my buddy Valerie tells me she just scanned in the shapes and it worked fine. I'm going to back this out. Oh, wrong direction. Sorry, guys. So what I'm doing right now is I'm tracing the shape on a piece of copy paper, printer paper, I stole out of my printer. And I recommend using a Crayola marker for this process so that if you accidentally jump up on top of the shape and draw a line on it like I just did, it washes right off. The Crayola marker, I have them in my Amazon store. You go to amazon.com/shop/power tools with thread. I'm doing this on a bend. Okay. So I'm going to do this again. I've got my little dog now on paper. I'm going to put this paper back in here. All right. I'm going to go back to home, cancel everything, and scan to cut data. Okay. Maybe I could use a Sharpie on the edge. So the issue with a Sharpie is Sharpies bleed through whatever they can bleed through. I jumped up on the edge of the shape a little bit right here. See that little mark I made? I jumped up on there with the marker. That's going to come right off with water. That won't work with a Sharpie. You'll permanently damage the... Now, see, that's what that needs to look like. Let me zoom in. See my little dog? There we go. That's what I'm talking about. That's what you're after. Okay. I'm going to just hit outside only. Yeah, more light over the map might help. I don't know. It captured the bottom edge of the paper. That's okay. I'm going to tell it okay because I'll clean that up. All right. Now you can, I'm going to go up here. I'm going to see if I can't get rid. It's not straight, so I'll still have some of that line left. Okay. Tell it okay. I didn't put the paper in there straight. Now you can save it to the machine, you can save it to the cloud, or you can save it to USB. I like to save it to the cloud because it's easier to clean up the mat in the cloud. So I'm going to hit cloud. And it said okay, and it saved it there. Save successful. So let me back out of here so you guys, okay. There. Okay. Blessed 23 has expired on the Embrilliance site. Really, Dawn? It said it was good through the 25th. Interesting. Huh. I'll have to get with them. Okay. Could I make a copy in my printer of the template? Yes, you can. Your resulting lines may or may not, because it's a clear template. It took me 2 seconds to trace around that. Now you have to trace, if you're doing it Lori's method, you have to trace around it anyway, right? So let me go back to, I want to go to Brother Canvas. Again, do not need a Brother embroidery machine in order to do this. Brother Canvas is free. Okay. So let me stream with you guys and share my screen. Yeah, that's a good point Patty just mentioned. So the new SDX machines have auto blade technology. You do not have to turn your blade like you did on the original ones, the old CM models. Let me make sure you can see what I see. Yes. Okay. So we are here at Brother Canvas. I'm just going to go to my projects. And here's my little dog. Okay. And you've got two buttons. You've got edit and download. So I want to edit. I got to edit first and clean up the mat. And I saw a stray, look at that stray little mark right there. See that little mark? I don't know where that came from. I don't see that on the map, but the ScanNCut saw it. So I'm going to grab my dog and I'm going to move him. You know what? I need to, what do I need to do? Windows minus, it's not letting me do that. Okay. So I'm just going to grab him and, oh, Lord have mercy. What happened there? I'm going to move him off the mat. And then I'm going to take my cursor and just drag it over the entire mat and get rid of anything that might be there and hit delete with the keyboard and then come back. And I need to straighten him up because I scanned him crooked. There we go. That looks good. Okay, now I'm done. I'm going to save him. Let me back up here. I'm going to type Scotty dog. And then I'm going to come over to the project tab. You guys, loads of videos showing you how to do this step by baby step. Okay, so he's now saved as Scotty Dog. Now I'm just going to hit this great big download button. And I can save it. So I would download to PC if I'm going, when it's time to create the embroidery design for him. So I'm going to do that right now. And it's going to go, oh, oops. Are you still seeing what I see? Yes. Okay. And it came into my downloads folder. Now I'm going to hit ScanNCut transfer and it's going to download it back to the machine. And what that does is it makes sure, let me hit close. Okay. And what that does is it makes sure that that little thing that was up in the corners cleaned up. Okay. So now we're good. I'm off of close. All right. So let's look back here at the ScanNCut. I'm just going to hit home and eject. Delete all patterns, okay, and eject. Because I'm done with the scanning mat. All right. Now I have my little, this is a cutting mat. And this is the low tack mat. It's barely sticky anymore. I've got zig on it because I had to re-stick it. Let me get my coffee cup out of the way. Ooh, I'm going to push this back. My husband made this cabinet for me and I love it. So I'm going to take my fabric. I don't have any work room. And I'm just going to peel the paper off the back here. I got to cut a dog. These are handy to hold on to use as sheets if you're ironing and you don't want to make a hot mess on your ironing board when you're using adhesive. So you might hold on to those. And I'm just going to take this fabric and put it, I think I'm going to put it this way. It extends over. Oh, that's okay. Maybe I'll put it this way. Yeah. You always want to make sure that the machine can see these black boxes up at the top. So I'm just going to put this on. There. It extends over the bottom a little bit. That's fine. You really do use less fabric. If I was cutting all four of those little hearts, it'd be small enough. You don't need the big ones to make all the seam allowance. Okay, I'm going to put this back in and I'm going to load the mat. If you have an old CM model, the CMs and the SDX models, this is the newer one with the auto blade technology, do not use the same mats. So we've got the blade right here. This is the standard black blade that comes with the ScanNCut. And I'm just going to pull it up. So let me get my camera in here for you guys. And I'll show you what we're going to do. This is what I edit out when I'm doing my tutorials. Okay. I know, Candace, you all want one of these cabinets. I'm sorry. Keith made the schematics, I think, but all right. So remember I told you that this one is patterns that were in the machine when you bought it. That's not what I want. I want my dog, right? That wasn't in the machine when I bought it. So I'm going to hit retrieve data. And it says, where do you want to get it from? From the machine, from the cloud, from a USB, or you might be cabled to your computer. I want to get it from the cloud. And it's grabbing the last thing I sent down. There's my little dog. Now, one thing you'll notice too that's really cool, I don't have to reverse it because I've got the fabric pretty side up on the mat. So everything is the way it's supposed to be. Right here, this blue box, this is where it's the blue box with a bar across it. That's where the ScanNCut makes its money. Okay, so this is the magic. It's going to scan the fabric and make sure that everything's going to fit. So I'm just going to hit start and it's going to scan in the fabric. That's what it's doing now, taking a picture of what it sees on the mat. And when you have a load of stuff on the mat, oh, that looks good. Let me zoom in so you guys can see what it sees. See, I've used too much fabric on this one because I was in a hurry. I was trying to get ready this morning for y'all. See, you can see that it's gonna capture everything. I could probably save a little bit by turning it. So I'm gonna hit edit and object edit this object right here. If there was more than one object, then I would tap around and pick whatever one I wanted. Object edit. And we've got these buttons right up here. This is the stretchy arrow. That's to resize. Don't ever touch that button once you have established the size. You don't want to mess that up, okay? You've got the multiples right here. Now, this is the button you push where you would get, let me touch it. You would get the +2, where you would tap one of these plus signs 2 times if you're doing Kimberbell. That's a different topic. Don't get confused. Don't fiddle with it if you're doing this process. But I'm going to hit the rotation and I'm going to turn it 90. Okay, now I'm going to grab my dog and move him a little bit. I like to leave about 1 inch all the way around. It really doesn't matter. It's fine. I'm going to tell it okay and tell it okay and tell it okay. It's very insecure. You have to continually tell this thing it's okay. And tell it okay and select and cut. And you want to make sure that half cut is off. If you're playing with vinyl, that's when you use the half cut, but I don't do that. So I'm going to just tell it start. Okay. And it's going to cut out our little dog. Much better than I could. There it goes. And it's going to take just a second to do that. I'll let you guys watch it do its thing. Aren't you organized? Look at that, Patricia. It's all done already. Okay. All right. So just grab a corner here. Look at this. All right. And he's perfect. Isn't that awesome? And I like to kind of scrape like a pizza off the pan. I'm going to hit eject and tell it okay and eject. So now, even if you're not doing the embroidery process, you have saved yourself an enormous amount of time and effort. Once you get good at this, you guys, I can do this in about 20 seconds. Literally, I mean, I've been talking you through it, but I can do this in 20 seconds. Okay. He's perfect. Look at him. See that? He's absolutely perfect. And that's the idea of what you want to do. And if you've got to cut out 500 leaves for a Judy Niemeyer quilt, you want to do this process, okay? You guys know what I'm talking about, or the vines or any of that stuff. So Why did I use heat and bond instead of SF101? Oh, very good question, Tammy. So heat and bond allows me to iron this to the background fabric. So the embroidery design is going to create the placement line. And then the machine's going to stop, and then I'm going to iron this down. So SF101 would adhere to the back of this fabric, and there's no adhesive on SF101. So that wouldn't work for me to do that. I don't need to. So SF101 is used to stabilize unstable fabrics, right? And the only reason we use SF101 in quilting cottons is to prevent that tug and puckering that we get on background fabric. This piece of applique, I generally do not put SF101 on applique pieces. I will put it on the back of background fabric that will be heavily stitched. So for instance, on this square right here, there is no SF101 on the back because the stitch is a blanket stitch. There's no heavy satin stitching. The only time I recommend SF101 is if you're doing heavy satin stitching or a fill, a heavy fill. The zigzag causes the puckering. That's the problem with that. So I hope that helps explain that. So Cheryl wants to know what's the difference between Wonder Under versus Heat and Bond Light. Heat and Bond Light has kind of a shiny, grippy. See how shiny that is? It's almost glassy. You get a much cleaner cut. You can use Wonder Under. You can. But if you use Wonder Under, so this glassy, it feels kind of plasticky, but it doesn't change the hand of your block. This grips onto that ScanNCut. If you're going to use Wonder Under, you want to give it another little shot of adhesive, maybe some KK2000. Okay. So I want to show you guys the beauty of the next step. Okay. I want to show you just quickly the next step. I'm going to go into share my screen with you guys. You can use Steam a Seam, Candace, but you need to give it some extra stick to the mat because it'll lift. Okay. Let me go to Window and in Brilliance. You guys, you can see this is what we were working on yesterday. This is how you make a patch with Merrily. I'm just hit delete on my keyboard and get rid of that. So I'm going to jump into, let me change my hoop sideways. Okay. I'm going to jump into Stitch Artist and I'm going to come over here to Vector. And there's my Scotty dog in my downloads. And I'm going to tell it open. I'm going to highlight him so it knows what I want to do with this. And I'm going to click on this button right here. This looks like an E-stitch, but it's the applique. Okay. Now it's got an applique stitch. All right. It's applique almost. Look up here in the top in the objects panel. It still says .fcm. That's that vector graphic from the ScanNCut. So I'm going to click on the applique button and I want to show you right down here on this applique tab. Now you can change the border. You can do the blanket stitch or so there's the blanket, standard blanket. There's a satin stitch. See how it changes on the dog? There's your zigzag if you wanted to do that. So I'm just going to go with the E-stitch. I like the E-stitch. It's kind of cute. It's got a long and a short and a long and a short, and that's a cute little one. This is also where you can change the stitch width. If you've got those little tiny 1/4 inch stems that Lori makes in her flowers, then you can change the length so that it all fits and it doesn't get real messed up. All I got to do now is I'm going to go File, Save as Stitch and Working. The working file allows you to go back in and edit. And I'm going to call it Scotty Dog. I've been messing around with this quite a bit. So Scotty Dog, we'll put -4 or 3. Okay. And I'm just going to, now you can see right here, it's going to save as type to PES. But this is where I was telling you, you don't have to have a brother machine in order to use this process, because you can hit the drop down and you can save to any home embroidery machine format, any home embroidery machine format. And I'm going to tell it save. Okay. So I'm going to open up a new file now. And let me click open and let's go to our Scotty Dog 3. Now here we go. If you look here in the type, there's the working file that I can go back and edit if I wanted to, but this is the embroidery file. And I want to click that and I'm going to click open. Okay. Now over here in the objects panel, notice it no longer says .fcm. So now we're talking about an embroidery design and not a graphic. Remember back over here on this tab, we have .fcm, that's the graphic. Now that I've opened it up and finished it, I've got no .fcm, so that tells me that's the embroidery design. And when I click on it, we have the applique position. If I was to stitch this out right now on a piece of background fabric, my little dog will fit exactly on that placement line and I iron him in, okay? And then we have the final E stitch that I've got there. Now, let's say you haven't pre-cut your pieces, okay? Let's say you just traced around it for whatever reason, you didn't pre-cut your piece. You can take this one, which is the position, applique position, and over here on the main stage, you can right click and copy, and then right click and paste, and it put it down here. And I'm just going to take this and I'm going to put move first. So now what it's going to do, there's a copy. So there's the placement line. Then you put your square of fabric over the whole thing. There's the tack down. Then you trim around the outside of the square, right? And then there is your final stitch. So you can create new stitches and you can just have a ball with this. And look how simple that was. It was just a couple of stitches. So that is the beauty of what it is that I do. And that's what I'm going to show how to do at Houston and actually do this. You're lost now. Got to watch 3 or 54 more times, Connie. That's okay. Again, I've got so many videos on my channel to show you guys how to do this. And okay, so you guys are all talking amongst yourselves about appliques and what goes on the back and all this other stuff. So yeah, there's so many little tips and tricks with all of this to be able to make this work for you. And it just absolutely changes the way you look at applique embroidery quilts. You'll see them now and go, oh, I don't have to cut all those out by hand. I just have to scan one of them. And if you get a paper pattern, you just trace around the paper pattern with a light box. You would have to trace it anyway, right? You don't want to tear up your master pattern. So, oh, Bernie, you're more than welcome. Yeah, you absolutely. Y'all need to ask for ScanNCuts for Christmas. Okay. So if you want a ScanNCut, you don't have a dealer nearby you, go to mulqueensewing.com. I've got a link below. Use promo code PTWT for Power Tools with Thread. You will get free shipping and you get a free Power Tools with Thread little gift that is unique just for that. And yeah, you guys need to figure this out. You will absolutely love it. It does. It changes everything. So keep your eye on, if you go to the Houston show, you're going to get a heck of a deal on ScanNCuts. It might be worth the trip for you to jump over there and go to that. But yeah, it's so much fun. I had a lady at the quilt store over here in Shirts, and she called applique the A word. She says, I hate doing things the A way. But you know, I don't mind this now. I don't mind it a bit. And it's so fun. And it makes you stand up and dance and clap your hands with glee when it works out. But yes, Dorothy, I used the low tack mat. If you use So the stickier the mat, okay, the stickier the mat. Like if you get the standard mat, you can do this on the standard mat. I was doing some vinyl. Failed. Miserable fail on my vinyl. So the standard tack mat is purple. You can use that depending on how sticky it is. This is why you use your scrap basket and your ugly fabric first, okay? You want to go ahead and make sure to test this. Don't do it on your pretty fabric right away. So when you do that, you might want to put it pretty side down and adhesive side up, or if you can even leave the paper on it, which I've shown how to do before. When you have a brand new super sticky mat, y'all, pretty side down, mirror your image, mirror it. Be sure to do that. Okay. Now let's talk about the fabric mat, because there is such a thing as a fabric mat, and sometimes the machines come with them. This machine came with the fabric mat. Don't be fooled. I've got one right here. Okay, this fabric mat. This is the gold mat. This fabric mat is super, 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 super sticky. Very sticky. Okay. I do not recommend using this mat for quilting cottons, because when you go to take them off and get them off the mat, your shapes can distort because you're pulling them. Okay. And you have to be careful with that. You can hear how sticky this is with this. I don't recommend it. This mat is great for cork. If you use felt or fleece on it, you're going to make it all fuzzy, and then you can use your quilting cottons on it. So yeah. Oh, it will leave a complete and total mess. Do not put adhesive side down or paper side down on this gold mat. Don't do it. Use the gold mat, fabric side down, only when it's not sticky. You've got to kind of be flexible. It's not cut and dry with this, you guys. The more sticky the mat, don't put quilting cottons on it. I just don't recommend it, and then when you go to pull them off, they might shred and fray and come apart. It's very depressing. So don't do that. Yeah. Can I give a hint about the special pricing at the show? I cannot. I'm sorry. I can't. They haven't put it out yet, I don't think. Of course, they're always going to have great financing. You may be able to get a heck of a deal if you buy a machine and the ScanNCut. Sometimes you can get a heck of a deal on the ScanNCut if you get a new machine while you're at it, depending on the price of the machine, right? So, so Courtney said that Brother is doing away with the fabric mat on All Brands After Hours. Jackie says, I would imagine so. I think they came out with it because of the fabric support sheet. That way you didn't have to use. That's just a sticky thing you could put on top of the old mat. So Lynn says they threw in a ScanNCut when she bought her Lumi. There's that. I have no idea what the dealer is going to be doing, you guys, so I don't want to speak for them. But that is sometimes something that they can do. They will get ScanNCuts. So let's talk about the different models of the ScanNCut just real quickly. I know we're over our hour, but you guys are going to be wondering. So the baby of this is the SDX 85. Okay. In short, the SDX 85, it does exactly what I just showed you here this morning. It will do exactly what I showed you here this morning. Okay. It will scan and cut the same as the SDX 325 or the 330D. The lower the number you go, and Brother is not coming out with a new ScanNCut next year. So right now we still have top of the line. Okay. So, and Colleen says that's the deal she got at Mo Queen. She got a ScanNCut with her machine. Yeah. It's wonderful. Yeah, it's great. Now you're up and running, right? You just got to play with them. The issue with like the SDX 85, which is the baby one, is that the screen is very small. But you see, I don't work on the screen a whole lot. I bounce my stuff up to the cloud. Okay. So you don't have to work on the screen. You can, but you don't have to. But the SDX 85 will not use the 24-inch mat. And the 24-inch mat is very, very handy. I have one right here. When you're going to be cutting 500 leaves on those Judy Niemeyer quilts, and you want to just put a big old slap of fabric on here and multiply them out and let it do its thing. So if you've got large pieces, you're going to be doing, so like on those chickens for chicken salad, not everything will fit on that 12-inch mat. So I was able to put the different fabrics all down the 24-inch mat, and then I could cut them all at one time. You don't have to do that. You can run the 12-inch mat several times through the machine. So that is the least expensive, is the SDX 85. If you are looking to do what I just did and convert all of this into embroidery, the least expensive way to go is to get the SDX 85, which is like $200 on Amazon, I think it is. Hello, baby. $200 on Amazon, and then get Stitch Artist 2, which is about $350 or bucks or so, right? So for less than $600, you've got your ScanNCut, you've got your Brilliant software, and you're off and running to the races. And you can now do what I did and convert those designs into embroidery designs for your home machine. So, okay. Also, I do want to put this disclaimer in here. When you create a design in the ScanNCut, I don't care whether you have traced it from a Nancy Halverson's On Wander Lane, or you've used Lori Holt's Simple Shapes, or you bought a design off the internet, it doesn't matter. Once you digitize it, okay, could you nefariously do something with it you're not supposed to? Absolutely. But we are stitchers of conscience, okay? Do not share those, you guys. That's the 11th commandment, all right? Do not share. That is for your use only. And to share them with others is only hurting our digitizers and our designers. So please do not share anything that you create when you make a digital design. Pam wants me to talk about how to clean the mats. Okay. I guess there was a question that if you used a dime magnetic hoop in a new machine, that it would cancel the warranty. That is not correct. Matter of fact, Dime is going to have a booth in the All Brands Village because they work hand in hand. All Brands sells, most brother dealers sell Dime magnetic hoops. They work fantastic. Okay. Yeah. Stitchers of conscience. That's what we are. Yes. We do not share. All right. So how to clean your mat. Start with a baby wipe, bottom wipe, like a cottonelle that does not have any oil in it, like lanolin or alcohol. Okay. Start with that. And then as the mat continues to get worse and worse, you can use LA's Totally Awesome to continue to get adhesive off the mat. This is the non-concentrate. Okay. And you get it at the dollar store. They have it at Dollar Tree and Dollar General. And I use the non-concentrated version. This will over time de-sticky your mat, just FYI, but you're using it anyway. Okay. Once you spray it on and you wipe this off, take it over to the sink and spray it down with the sprayer, or rinse it. Okay. And get the rest of the detergent off of the mat. When your mat loses complete sticky, like my blue one did that I just cut my little dog on, they make this glue. It's on Amazon. It's in my Amazon store called Zig. And you can re-stick your mat. Okay. You can completely re-stick your mats. It works great. So you get 2 tubes for less than $10, I think. It was great. So yeah. Okay. Yep, Patty's got that right. That's how you keep it straight. SF101 supports the backing fabric. Okay. Heat and bond stick goes on the applique pieces. That's how you keep, you only need to you don't need to put SF101 on applique fabric. And especially if you've got it on the backing fabric, you only need one layer of that in your whole project. So it's fine. Do I have a zig video? Patty, I don't. There are zig videos out on YouTube. I imagine I could. I've got another mat that I could do. I've got a mat that needs help. Yeah, most of my mats need help. The cleaner was called LA's Totally Awesome. Okay. Don't start with this. This is after your mats just don't stick anymore, and cleaning the mat with the baby wipes doesn't work anymore. I've got Cottonelle mat right here. I've got Cottonelle. I like to use the Cottonelle version at Costco. Theirs works really well. The Cottonelle version Equate from Walmart works really well. Okay, Deborah, by the time you restick the mat's not under warranty anyway. I mean, the only time you would warranty the mat is if it came and it was bent, and then the dealer would replace it, right? Or it had a problem. By the time you get to the point that you're putting zig on your mat, the warranty is long gone. Because the mats, depending on how much you use them. I use mine quite a bit. Yeah, Julie Faye Fan Balzer has a video, I think. Yeah, okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, Santa's definitely needs to bring you one. Okay, good. All right. I will. Yes, Brenda. I will do a video on how to zig your mat. Oh my goodness. Y'all, I moved my undercover over here. That's my old Janome cover stitch. That's going to go down to our house at the coast. And I've got the new, where is it? Right there, right where my finger is. That's the brand new Brother cover serger combo. And then I have the Brother Airflow 3000 right there. But I just put that. Oh, they're out of stock in zig in my Amazon store. Really? Dang. Yeah, you guys buy up stuff. That's great. So Tammy asked, what time am I at Houston? I will be there on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, November 2nd, 3rd, 4th at 11:30 at the Brother booth at the All Brands booth where the Brother stage is. You'll look for the big red tents. It takes up about the size of a city block. You can't miss it. There will be all kinds of demos going on there. We're going to have a lot of fun. So you guys, these comments are going crazy. All right. We are good for the economy. Yes, that's right. All right, you guys, this has been wonderful. I'm going to go get some more coffee and get some breakfast and pour some more vinegar on my hair and try to lighten it up some more. You guys are going to be there Friday, Tammy? Absolutely. So I will have a booth inside of that All Brands Village, and pop in, say hi. Keith and I will both be there. I don't know if I have a ScanNCut. I certainly will have a Luminaire and the print Moda, and we will be playing around in there and having a good time. So I hope you can stop by. I'm so excited. We leave tomorrow for Houston. We are heading to Quilt Market for the vendors. So that's going to be fun. I'm bringing my camera and I will take you guys along. So I will see you tomorrow morning, and we'll talk to you soon. You guys go sew something. Bye.